So again, Tivoli 267. Come in and use us anytime that you need. You can always email, call, stop on in. You can even schedule appointments through Handshake if you like as well. You'll find all of our events and workshops on Handshake. You'll also find them on our website also. So this is a little bit of the agenda, kind of breaking down what I'll do with you all for kind of the next hour and 15 minutes or so. Just talk really briefly about what the Career Center offers, how we can support you all or whatever particular challenges that you might come across and what we can do to help. We'll talk a little bit about some feelings. How are you all feeling about the future, about your career direction, even some ideas that you may have. And then I'll really jump into just some of the mechanics of ways that the Career Center views how to figure out this career planning, how to figure out how do you apply your capital or your skills, your knowledge, your abilities, and all of these things that make you unique and be able to apply it to a job and even try to figure out what that could be a really good fit for you in terms of a career. We'll do a little activity to design that life, and then we'll just see if you all have questions at the end. If throughout any of this you have any questions for me about this content, about the workshop overall, don't hesitate to raise a hand. Don't hesitate to just interject into the conversation. I'm not too formal about this, and again, I want to make sure that you get any of your questions or concerns answered. It's really designed for you all, so please don't be shy to join in here. So these are really just some of the breakdown of the services that the Career Center offers. So really, I look at the Career Center as we're the office that really helps a lot of you in your goals of what brought you to college. I'm assuming that probably a majority of you in this room decided, hey, I'm going to go to college to be able to get a degree and find a job that's a little bit more meaningful to who I am, give me a little bit more like income equity or income growth, and have just a better lifestyle overall. So really, we help students through that entire journey of reaching that goal. So if it happens to be deciding on a major or a career direction, helping to evaluate certain career directions, absolutely. Please come in and use us. We have a lot of different tools and activities to help you think about what could be a good major for your goals and what you want out of college. Very similarly, we help with that job search support. So if you're looking for on-campus jobs, work-study jobs, off-campus jobs, full-time jobs, jobs internationally, any kind of job, quite frankly, the Career Center is here to support you with that as well. So it's not just like jumping on Indeed, jumping on Google Jobs, and trying to just blast out resumes, but we can help you to be able to have a specific strategy and give you some tips of how to be more effective with it. We offer Handshake. Handshake is our internship and job board for students. So really, if you're looking for an internship, you're looking for that on-campus job, or even too, if you're looking for a job anywhere around the globe, Handshake is a great place to start. Every student has access to Handshake. You just use your single sign-on information. So like what you use to get onto Access, what you use to get onto a computer, all of that information, that login information is what you use to claim your Handshake account. Similarly in Handshake, you'll find all of our resources too. So our resume guides, our cover letter guides, our interview guides, our career briefs, like everything that we use in the Career Center, you can find in Handshake in our resource library. So I always make the joke, please do not Google how to write a resume, because you're going to get a lot of very conflicting information. You're going to read 5 articles and you're going to get 20 different opinions about it. It is obnoxious. So really I say use our resource library, look at our resume guide, or come in and speak with us because we use employers to build that guide. It's all relevant industry information. These aren't just things that we came up with. Also, mock interviews or interview prep. If you're like me and you feel a little uncomfortable in like public speaking opportunities or when you're giving interviews, come and practice. We can create that environment in a formal mock setting, kind of raise that tension a little bit, make you feel a little uncomfortable, put yourself in character, so to speak, and be able to go through that mock interview to help you feel more comfortable with it, because it absolutely, the more practice, the better. Similarly, right, all the documents, resumes, cover letters, CVs, letters of intent, grad school applications, scholarship applications, like anything, quite frankly, that you need some help writing or creating, we're happy to support you there as well. Always giving the disclaimer, I did not get my degree in English or communication or writing. So if you're looking for things around like grammar, sentence structure, things like that, the Writing Center can be a better resource for you. But just know that we can absolutely support you with some of that other stuff too. Events with employers, we always do a lot of different events. Actually, yesterday we just had the NSA, the National Security Administration, on board to be able to support students with resumes. So they gave a resume workshop. So we're constantly trying to bring employers into different events to connect with you all, because we recognize that's a big part of what you all are seeking. Is that relationship, is that connection, is that support that allows your application when you're ready for it to go a little bit further beyond just submitting it into an email or some type of application system. We have a lot of other events and workshops too, so if it's about student development, if it's about your interests, it's about resumes or anything, always know we have those too. We have our internship and job fair coming up as well on September 25th, I believe, on Wednesday. And that's where we're going to have about 60 different employers from all across the industry, so any major that's looking for, they're looking to hire interns, or they're looking to hire full-time employees as well. So a really good opportunity to just maybe make some connections, potentially distribute some resumes there, and solidify an opportunity as well. So just know we do a lot to be able to support you all reaching these goals of using your education in that real world, however you define that real world. So something that's really, really fascinating is that the Career Center is actually going to be moving locations in the very beginning of October. So only for about 4 more weeks or so are you going to see us inside the Tivoli across from that Starbucks. But after October, after like that first week of October, because I think we're moving about the first week it looks like, we're going to move into what's called Links Connect. And what's really cool is Links Connect is just located inside of here. These are the old movie theaters of the Tivoli right there, and so it's kind of across the courtyard from iPie, the pizza shop, and also too, it's kind of like right next to that Tivoli parking garage. What's really, really cool about Links Connect is that this is going to be a place where the Career Center, the Experiential Learning Center, so the office that supports students with internships, service learning, undergraduate research, but also our Office of Undergraduate Research will be there too, because they separated it out from the ELC. But then also study abroad too. So these 4 offices, Career Center, Experiential Learning Center, Study Abroad, and Undergraduate Research, are all moving into Links Connect together. And so this goal is that Links Connect is an opportunity for you to take your education outside the classroom. So it doesn't matter if it's a job or if it's a work study job, if it's an internship or a service learning program, if it's a study abroad or even an internship program, or even to trying to do some undergraduate research at this level, because all of these different offices that come together in Links Connect are here to be able to provide you awesome growth opportunities. Right? So a lot of times employers, they want to see in your resume that it's not just your degree, it's not just your projects, but you've done other things. Even something as simple as studying abroad, not necessarily an internship abroad, but study abroad. That has a lot of value, and honestly a lot of employers are looking for people that have had diverse multicultural experiences. It's one of the top 8 skills that employers are looking for from a survey that was just conducted by a national organization that oversees colleges, college career services. So really, really awesome. Again, it's kind of this like a la carte. So if you're ever thinking like, yeah, this is really fun, all this stuff I'm learning, but God, I want to use it. I want to go out and do something with it. Come to Links Connect. It's going to be awesome. We're super, super excited about it and can't wait for the impact that can help for you all in developing outside of that classroom experience. But yeah, again, that's going to happen in October. If you ever get lost, just know it's going to be there, but we're going to have a lot of different like wayfinders and communication and things like that to help you all find it, so don't get too worried there. All right, so really I wanted to kind of jump into this whole career planning activity, kind of think about how to go through this, and think about developing and cultivating this direction for yourself. I had this activity, but given the setup of the room, I don't think this activity is going to work, so I think we'll just kind of do it together overall. So what I was thinking was I'll walk around, be able to give you guys high fives, you all give each other high fives, and then we can share some stories, but again, given the way that we're set up in this room, let's just share it together here. So I prompt you all to add into this conversation, to really think about this. How is it that you feel? What are some of your fears about careers? So feel free to share. What are some of the concerns that you all have? I know for me, a concern that I have within my career is thinking about, would it be something that I'm going to be engaged in 5 years down the road? Right? Yeah.
Yeah, just like as as an 80s baby, you see how some careers are like phased out.
Oh, for
and
sure, yeah.
Journalism, even just in general, the way it's changed.
Yeah.
That is a fear of mine. Even just how the English language is changing itself, and how people think that it's okay to like do that so simply.
Yep.
That is another fear.
Well, scary, right? Yeah, the shorthand communication, it's kind of popping up a lot. Even I get a lot of emails from students of like even cover letters and things that have like shorthand text in it. It's like, oh, no.
Yeah, I've struggled with miscommunication like already enough in my life that I don't need like more. Miscommunication.
Yeah. So it's really that thing of like, how can I be ahead of this ever-evolving world of careers and what careers look like? Something like journalism. Really good, absolutely. Yeah.
Getting into grad school after undergrad.
Right.
That's a big fear of mine. So my major is physical therapy.
Nice. Yeah.
So getting in, and meeting requirements and internships and stuff like that to make myself eligible to even get in there. There's a lot of stress.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It's kind of that exact thing, like I know I got to do this, so I got to make sure that I do this experience right so that I can get to that next step of it. Nice, wonderful. Yeah, it's a very valid concern. Yeah.
The expectation employers have for you for a certain job, like that, and you might not be able to meet like a requirement.
Yeah.
Like that is definitely a fear because.
For sure, right? But the whole thing is I go through college, develop this knowledge, develop these skills. Hey, I could end up in an employer and they're going to ask me to do something and I may not feel comfortable or skilled to do that. And how do I navigate that process? Oh, absolutely. The fear of the unknown, that kind of fear of like, oh, can I really do this job? Oh, wonderful, absolutely. Thank you all for sharing. Anyone else want to add to this question?
I think if likely I could walk into the media industry, I think it's rush of time, like maybe lose the personal life, and I may think fear of accepting this high pace of working stuff, like maybe just uncomfortable, or have mean partner or boss, maybe unfortunately, I think.
Yeah, finding that work-life balance, not overworking yourself, not just driving so hard, so fast, move, that you feel burnt out.
Because media is rush of time.
Yeah, rush of time, absolutely. Very good. Well, another one too is thinking about like, well, how do you plan on managing these, right? These are very valid, very real concerns and fears. What are some ideas that could help to potentially manage some of those?
Speaking to advisors and networking with other people, I mean, it doesn't even matter if it's someone in your class or someone you meet on your way to class. That's a big part of it.
Oh,
Just
absolutely.
Making sure you're on track.
Yeah, the relationships that we can build, communicating with different peers or faculty, advisors, resource offices, people like me as well. Even thinking about, hey, let's reach out to do informational interviews. Let's talk to a student that's in a PT program. Let's talk to a student that works at a job I'm interested in. Oh, wonderful, yeah. Yeah, please.
Internship experiences. So whether it be volunteer at a nonprofit organization or anything besides that.
Good, yeah, get that experience, right? Be able to develop more of those competencies, more of those skills, being able to just feel more comfortable walking into an employer to say, hey, you know what, even if I can't do this exact task or I don't have that exact skill, I know what I can do to get there. Very good, yeah. And I think one too, to really throw it all the way out there as well is, thinking about what would be fears 5 to 10 years from now. I think that we get so focused in this setting of, man, it is just, I get the degree and I got to get the job. Like, that is what I'm doing. That is my goal. And then once you get the job, it all fell into place. Life makes sense. But then 5, 6, 8 years into that job, what would be some of those fears and concerns, I wonder? Right? And I think that exactly like what you're mentioning it's really interesting because a lot of the content of what I'll talk through is exactly what you mentioned, right? Gaining experiences, doing internships, meeting people, being focused on what can I do to find this balance within my life, really seeking information to really help us make educated decisions about it all. And I think that's the real world. Like, it's very concerning at times to think about our careers, to think about what our lives need, and to also think about, with how busy this world can be at times, am I going to have time to raise a family? Am I going to have time to take vacations? Am I going to have time to have a work-life balance and not just feel so rushed all the time? Yeah. Cool. So really, I think that the way that you can address some of these concerns, the way to think about college and career is really this. Break that passion mindset, right? We're not necessarily thinking on, at this time, what are your passions? Follow your passion and you never work a day in your life. I'm sorry, that's not accurate at all. I love what I do, but there are absolutely certain days that are work, that are challenging, that are tough, that are stressful. There's never going to be the perfect job. Even the same thing, Elon Musk, all these people, Richard Branson, all these people that you see that are having a wonderful lives, they're stressed. They have challenging days as well, right? So breaking that passion mindset that really career happiness is not just connecting your interests and your passions to a career. Because I will tell you this, when I was in y'all's shoes, I wasn't passionate about career development. I wasn't passionate about career services. I didn't even use my career center when I was an undergrad, right? So to have that expectation that you need to have a passion now and an interest now, and you got to relate that to a career, so it's a fallacy. So break that passion mindset. know that it's not about connecting your interests to careers. Because also very similarly, I'm interested in video games. I like to game. Like, that's what I do in my free time. I have no desire to program a game. That sounds awful to me, right? So just because it's an interest doesn't mean it needs to be a career direction. And I've actually started to change my language a little bit. So it's not about a job that is of your interest, but it's a job that keeps you engaged. It's a job that keeps you wanting to learn more, wanting to do more, wanting to engage and take it further and work harder. So again, that can take time. Passions take time to develop. This whole sense of engagement takes time to figure out what gives you that energy and what gives you that sense of engagement. Right? Careers aren't found. We're not walking around saying, ooh, I just like discovered my major under the table, or ooh, I just pulled out my career out of my pocket, or it just fell in my lap. Not at all. They're cultivated. They take intention. They take time. They take failures and learning from these failures. Right? And so knowing that careers are cultivated, that it takes intentionality, and that it's like a garden, where maybe in February you're going to start germinating some seeds. And then in March, you're going to potentially put them under a light lamp to be able to have them grow inside your house. Then in April, well, maybe not Colorado, more like May, you'll be able to actually plant them outside. And then you got to weed, and you got to garden, and you got to water, and you got to do all of this intentionality to help that plant grow. And so hopes that about this time of the year, maybe you get some nice corn, maybe you get an awesome tomato or something. So your career is exactly the same way. It takes intentionality, it takes time, it takes cultivation and allowing it to grow. I know this can feel super uncomfortable because it's like, oh my God, then that means it's all on me. Well, yeah, absolutely. It's your life's direction. You get this freedom to be able to choose what's the impact you want to have in your community. What's the skills that you want to employ that make a difference to help you to give get not only the income that you're looking for, but also a sense of meaning, a sense of purpose, a sense of what you want out of your life is being fulfilled through that. So be prepared to own that. Be prepared that it does take that work and that effort, and it is a lot of things outside of the classroom. But that's the point of why we're all here, why we all go through this, right? I couldn't do this work if I didn't take it upon myself to do internships, to take on different jobs, to do different trainings. Right? So knowing that we're here to help you think through this, but ultimately, it's on you to think about what's that impact that you want to have. Because I can tell you what you want to do with your life, but it's not going to be meaningful. Just like when mom and dad said, don't do this, and you're like, whatever, I'm going to do it anyways. You're learning. Probably should have listened to them. This is something I think is really important to know. That there, I think, is natural to have fear and concern about what are we doing? Is this major right? Is this career right? Is this relationship right? Is this meal right? But it's usually after the fact of making the choice that we're able to learn from it. So the fear of this one choice, and this one choice dictates my success and my happiness, try to overcome that. Because it's not this one choice that's going to dictate your success or your happiness. And it's honestly, we never know if the future is going to work out in our favor, and if that's the right major, the right job, the right relationship, or whatever it is. And if you can predict that future, come and talk to me offline, because I'm going to pay you millions of dollars to make my life super easy, right? Because then I can just help people predict what's going to be their next job or their next career. And so really embrace the fact that you'll feel lost at times. We all do. Even me. There's times in my career that I'm like, all right, I've been doing this for a certain amount of time. What's the next step? I feel a little lost and confused. That's okay. That's a part of life. We never know the future. But we can make decisions, and then we can learn from those decisions. We can take that data. We can take the information we get to be able to say, maybe that wasn't the best choice. Right? Maybe I should not have eaten that hamburger at midnight from McDonald's. It's not sitting well. Cool. And so really, it's finding a balance. It's not just one of these things. Right? It's not just my interests. It's not just my personality. It's not just my skills. Not even just my values either. It's finding a balance between all of these different parts of who we are to find that expression that gives us engagement. So that goes back into breaking the passion mindset, right? It doesn't have to just be an interest, and it's not even necessarily something that you could be good at. Like I'm really good with resumes, but I don't want to be a professional resume writer. That sounds awful to me, right? Because there's other things about that job that don't connect to who I am. And so I use this example where We have a tool in the Career Center called the Strong Interest Inventory. Really helpful tool for any student that is just completely lost, not knowing exactly or having any idea where to potentially go or take direction. And it relates interest to actually career titles. So for me, my number one career that pops up in the Strong Interest Inventory is to be a religious leader. Whoa, isn't that interesting? Well, yes, I studied philosophy, I studied religions, I studied psychology, I studied counseling. Like, that stuff absolutely represents my interest in who I am. I don't want to be a religious leader, though, not at all. You know, just because I have the interest in this stuff, just because I might have a personality that allows me to interact with people or see the world in this way or have that sense of empathy for spiritual enlightenment, or even too that I might even have the skill to potentially help direct or guide individuals. Right? 3 of these circles could tell me to be a religious leader, but my values don't match that. I don't want to tell people how to live their life. I don't want to tell people that they're bad or they're sinners or these things that are happening for them. It conflicts with my values. Right? And so knowing that, it's finding that balance between all of them. It's not one circle over the other, and in the years and years and years and years and years that I've done this work, values is one of the make or break circles. What do you want for income? What do you want for work-life balance? What is it that you want to have in terms of impact? Do you want to be able to reach a PhD, or do you want to be able to do the job with your bachelor's degree? Right? Do you want to have mobility that allows you to potentially travel? Right? So there's all these different things that can relate to values that can really help make or break a potential direction. So thinking about it as not a single career title, right? Because if it's a single career title, when you might challenge that idea or that idea no longer works for you, what happens? The anxiety, oh my God, the one thing I was working for, I was going to school to be a doctor, I failed biology 4 times, I'm freaking out, what do I do? It's all done, it's all over. Well, let's change that. Let's not focus on the one title, let's focus on the theme. So when I reflect back to thinking about being a religious leader, that theme for me is helping people. Communicating with people, working directly with people, allowing them to see their potential and what they're able to do. Wow, that theme can be expressed through many different positions. I tried it as a preschool teacher, I tried it as a mental health counselor, trying it as a career counselor. Right? There's different expressions of that theme. And that's what I think can give us a sense of control, that when something doesn't work out, or we're no longer in line or grooving with a certain direction, that we know there are other options to express who we are and express that theme. This is really fascinating, and this is something I kind of like to throw into these types of presentations, because I think it helps just break our mind a little bit more about what should careers offer us. So a few years back, I was creating a workshop for a national conference, and we looked at what causes career happiness. What are these factors that influence people's satisfaction and happiness in career? And there was one researcher, it was probably one of the best studies that I found in relation to this information, and he found that there are 5 different components that he found across many different samples or individuals and industries. And these are the 5 things that these individuals had in common, where they rated themselves at very high levels of satisfaction or happiness with their career. Autonomy. You want to be able to have the ability to manage your day the way that you like. Right? We're not saying you got to do this at this time, this at this time, and this at this time, but you have your deadlines and you reach towards them. Mastery, that you're good at what you're doing. Because if you're not good at it, you're not going to be happy. Right? That's just a part of being a human being. We naturally struggle with things we don't enjoy or are not good at. So your career should be the same way. You need to be able to do it, you need to be good at it. But purpose, it needs to be meaningful to you. However you define that meaning, it does not matter, but it needs to be meaningful to you. Connected or connection, this is representing, do you connect and feel similar or of a relative culture to the people you work with? So if you don't share a similar identity or hopes or values or goals or just a sense of similar culture or connection to the people around you at work, yeah, you feel a little dissatisfied. You spend more time with the people at work than you do with your loved ones. So obviously, yeah, we should probably like these people, right? They should probably represent who we are and what we want to do. And then obviously compensation, right? This is a big part of it. Don't ever neglect this either, because again, that's a big part of why you're going through college, to be able to increase your income potential. And so knowing that, right, when we look through these, it's not just, ooh, I found a job that I'm passionate about and that I'm interested in. That's what's going to make me happy. No, it's all of these things, right? You got to be able to make a sense of purpose, making sure it relates to who you are. You're good at it, but then you're allowed to use the job the way that you like. And then it gives you the style of life that you're looking for, right? Because that's a big, big part of it. You know, I always say this a lot of times, where like, you know, living and buying a house in the city and county of Denver, pretty challenging. It's a pretty expensive housing market. So if you want to go in and you want to be someone like, you know, like a mental health counselor, yeah, their income potential can really be a challenge to being able to reach, you know, a certain style of living in the Denver metro area. So if that's something that's important to you, you got to challenge that career idea of being a therapist or being someone like that, and being able to say, is this right? Is that what you really are looking for? So again, it's not just about I want to help people, but there's other pieces. So I think really to help prepare yourselves for that anxiety, or to help yourself figure out what is that sense that gives you those 5 components of happiness, or what are the ways that you could try to hone and refine what's your career identity? What's the way you want to make an impact? And I do phrase it that way. What's the impact you want to have in your community, not just what jobs do you want to have? That it goes through this process of explore, experiment, and evaluate. Yeah, so right with explore, well, let's think about this. All right, well, you know, if I really like mathematics and I really like, you know, the cosmos and outer space, maybe I should look into doing physics for a major. Okay. You know, I really enjoy mathematics, and I also enjoy the business world. Hey, maybe I should go into accounting. I like to be creative. I like to be dynamic. I want to be something that has more flavor and fun to it, but I'm really looking for a good amount of income, so I'm thinking like business marketing. Awesome. Let's research those majors. Let's take it a step further and let's research some career titles. So the Career Center has these resources called career briefs. Career briefs are super helpful. So we have them for every major, and really you can use a career brief to be able to say what are some popular occupations that relate to that degree. It's not saying these are the only things you could do, and they're not saying these are the things you'd be qualified for immediately after graduation, but it's giving you an idea of some things that could be explored or some ways to use that knowledge that you have. Don't neglect certain professions. We have a very narrow scope of what all is out there, right? When you ask a lot of high school students when they're getting ready to enter into college, it's business, it's medicine, it's lawyer, or it's an engineer, right? You know how many different types of engineers there are? You know how many different types of lawyers there are? How many different types of doctors there are? Right? There are so many different subsets to all of these bigger occupations that we shouldn't neglect certain occupations. We shouldn't neglect certain directions. But then we got to experiment. All right, I got this idea. I'm really interested in this physics major. I think that's what I want to do for my major. Awesome. Let's maybe take some classes. Let's test this idea out by taking that class, by talking with that faculty, by doing an informational interview with somebody that maybe does this type of research around the cosmos or astrophysics. Maybe I need to talk to somebody at Lockheed Martin about, hey, could I work at an organization like Lockheed Martin if I had a physics degree? Maybe, right? Let's get some more information, let's experiment. Let's take it a step further, right? Let's maybe challenge or test out a certain career idea. Let's do an internship. Let's volunteer. Let's do undergraduate research. Let's study abroad, right? Let's do any of these things that Links Connect is offering you all to allow you to experiment with that idea. Because that experimentation, that data that you gather from that experience, will help you then to be able to evaluate and to be able to say, what did I learn? What did I like about this job or this internship or this general experience? Or what did I hate about it? What was the worst parts about it? What are the things that I'm going to remove? One more, no, cool. So, right, thinking about the cycle again, let's imagine, have any of you all worked in like restaurants, customer service, right? Sweet jobs, right? So much fun, especially in restaurants when the customers are just bringing in because their steak was undercooked. Because yeah, I was the one back there cooking your steak, right? Come on. Well, we needed a job, and we needed some experience. So let's get this job in a restaurant. Let's figure out what it's like. Ooh, man, I think I realized through that job, I don't want to work in customer service. People are grumpy, people are aggressive, people are just generally rude to those that are trying to help them at times. And so maybe through that experimentation, I'm learning, you know what, restaurants might not be that best fit. So what could be another avenue for a potential job that isn't so frustrating, isn't so demanding of customers. Very similarly, it's thinking of that nature of, hey, I want to be a doctor. I have failed biology 4 times. Maybe I should do something different. And then we look into, hey, maybe it's public health. Okay? Maybe it's sociology. All these other options. So to me, this is one of the easiest ways that you can challenge or come up against that fear of the unknown. Because we can't predict the future. We can only make our choices, experiment with those choices, and then be able to learn from them and grow, right? And so this is something that you will go through for your entire life. This to me is career satisfaction in a nutshell. 5 years down the road when you're like, man, I don't know if I'm engaged in this job anymore. Awesome. Let's explore. Or let's assess that current job. What is it that you are bored about? What are the things you'd want to change? What's the challenges that you have? All right, let's look into potential other options. Let's meet some people. Let's learn from them. Let's maybe engage and do like an internship with them, or potentially make a pivot into a new job. Right? We're experimenting at that point, and we're learning. And so we can never predict the future, but we can only make choices that allow us to evaluate them and learn from them. Right? And so for myself, I was going to be a mental health counselor. I worked in residential treatment with young children, doing very much therapeutic work. And I learned that that is super challenging, and it's very hard on my soul. And I don't think this is something I can do for the rest of my life. So what is it about counseling and helping people that I really like? Oh, it's about identity formation and helping people reach their true potential. Oh, career counseling fits that. Right? Going through the cycle. Currently I'm at that point too. Been doing this stuff for about 6-7 years, and I'm like, what's the next challenge? I like it, but I want something more engaging, more challenging. So I'm kind of at this experimental phase right now in my current life. That's okay. That's what I think creates satisfaction. That's what I think creates engagement. It's constantly evaluating what can I change to be more in line with what I want. So when you're thinking about, well, what jobs do I want? What majors do I want? Think about this cycle, right? We can engage in a lot of different ways to help test some of these ideas, to feel more confident and comfortable about it. And what's even better about this too, you're developing skills through the whole thing. You're developing knowledge by experimenting. You're developing skills by experimenting. You're developing relationships by experimenting. And all of those things help you in the long run, help you with your careers. And so really it's about cultivating career capital. So here at the bottom, your career capital are all these things that you possess that you kind of give to an employer, so to speak. Yeah?
So the question I was just thinking about this, does this whole process, I think it's been interesting in the past, usually where like, you take a job and you kind of climb the ladder in that job, versus now people, will stay a couple of years at one job and then move to another. I don't know, it's kind of just your personal opinion on, not which is better, but just your thoughts on both of those.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it's a really good point.
Should I repeat the question?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So the question was that kind of looking at these differences between this old traditional model of what work and employment look like, where you get in on the entry level, and then you get experience, and you climb that ladder, and so you're moving from different position, all the way up to the top, or as high as you can go within your timeline. And then the other look at it of where we kind of currently see a lot of like our generation, a little bit older than myself generation, where we're flipping jobs. We're moving to different jobs very rapidly. So a lot of studies will say that you'll switch different careers or job titles anywhere from 5 to 7 times before you're even 30, right? And so it's saying, well, which of these models would really be best in my opinion, was the question. And honestly, it really just depends on the individual. The reason that you see a lot of this new data showing a lot of changing in careers and changing in direction is simply because we're figuring it out. We haven't really found ourselves in the socio-economic, political situation of the 80s and 90s and 70s that allowed us to be able to say, I just got to get a job and work it because that's really what it is. It's about income and that's all. That's where a lot of times you might find your parents or even your grandparents that are just really kind of disgruntled or angry about work. Well, yeah, because it wasn't necessarily an expression of them. It was done for survival. Whereas a lot of our generation and older generations, kind of like my sisters and things, they really look at it as it's more about fitting this balance between what do I need and what's meaningful to me. And so people are not looking at employment as this opportunity to just be in a survival state, but they're saying, this isn't satisfying to me anymore. I'm no longer happy with the status quo. I need to change something. I want to do something different. And we have an abundance of opportunities to be able to allow people to do that. So really what I think it is it's for you. Whatever it is right for you. If you find an organization that you believe in, that you value, that you're engaged with, hey, it may not be a bad idea to just continue to ride that ladder because it's something that's meaningful to you. However, if you ever don't find yourself feeling expressed or feeling honored in that role, because a lot of times people leave positions not because the job, but because of the supervisor or the culture, and at that point, yeah, we're going to just find something different. And I think that, honestly, a lot of that is this whole process. Because we haven't had a whole lot of time to really think like this or think through what is it that we really want or need. Yeah, it's a really good question. Okay, so break it up a little bit. I'm not just throwing out information at you all. Again, anytime you want to talk through this more in depth, find this context for you or these expressions, come in and see us. And so I wanted to do a little activity, just kind of make it a little bit more salient for you all. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show two different kind of values, so to speak. And I want you to be able to pick one of the values, right? You have to pick one. You can't say both. You got to pick one. So if you hate them both, sorry, find the lesser of two evils. If you love them both, awesome. Find whichever one you prefer more, okay? There are no correct answers. There's no right or wrong answers here. It's really just for you. And what do you need? And what do you want? So, two conflicting values, or not necessarily conflicting, but two different values that we can put against each other. Are you someone that's more interested in structure? So working in an environment that provides guidelines, objectives, and clear expectations in your role? Or are you more interested in having creativity in your role? A position that allows you to create new concepts, products, services, systems, etc. that do not establish the rules or procedures, but it's a lot more adaptable and creative. A tough one. So how many of you all would fall on the structure side with me? So what motivates some of these feelings? Why would you all select this side for you? Yeah, please, just throw it out.
I think for me, I need to have that environment because otherwise I can get distracted by others who don't seem to have the structure.
Yeah.
And it becomes just too much about like, it just is a distraction from like what you should be doing at work.
Yeah, it's a distraction, it doesn't build clarity, people could just be flying by the seat of their pants and it's like, oh my god, no, this isn't how we do this. All right? Yeah. I'm comfortable in that sense. Okay? Yeah?
I say both. I think it's valuable to have both structure and creativity in a workspace or work environment. And life, just since too much structure as it's with the balancing act of yin and yang, too much of one is like a little too powerful.
Too much,
then the other
too
one,
constricting.
Too constricting, correct. And then the other one is just too loose, too crazy, and so having that nice centered balance.
Yeah.
I think would
But if you had to pick one,
to structure.
you say structure, cool, right? And again, this is where it's really challenging that idea to say what could be more of that preference. But I love the way you articulate the value between balance. Yeah. Anybody else want to share about why they would select structure?
I love the structure one because I think I may make less mistakes for following the guidelines, objectives, step by step, and planning before managing my mind. And I think creativity one is okay, but it's more in life because I don't want to thought about and concerns about, oh my god, I will get mistakes in my work because it's dangerous because maybe had fired by your boss. Like,
right, you got fired because like, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
Give me the expectations. Good, really good. How about for you all that are more on the creativity side? What motivates you to select that option for you? Yeah, please.
I guess for me, it's more of like a sense of freedom, and more a sense of like expressing myself. Like I find like structure is obviously good, when it comes to certain things, but it's also for me like a lot of pressure. So like if I know like I have to do something by this date or whatever the case may be, if I had the choice, I'd rather be able to be more creative about what I'm doing, be able to take more time and put more passion into what I'm doing rather than what I need.
Need or expected
when it needs to be done.
Yeah, good, really good. Let's see, so, yeah.
I was going to say, again, course, it's about a balance thing, and I think structure is something that everybody needs.
For sure.
And for me, like, structure is just very important in order for me to do a good job.
Mm-hmm.
But I think creativity is where I thrive. So I think there's a difference between doing a good job and doing like the best.
Well done. Yeah, it's what fits for you to perform at your best level. Nice, wonderful. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not good at following directions. Never have been.
Never have been. Always had that lecture, right? Really good. So it's exactly it. Well, when you recognize something about yourself, what you may need in regards to whatever it might be, that's right for you. It's not one over the other, but it's what's important for you. Good. Really good. All right. How about honesty versus diversity? So honesty, having a job where I'm encouraged to openly communicate with my coworkers and I can, with all honesty, share my opinion about various aspects of my job that need improvement. Or diversity, having a job where that values diversity, working in a setting that includes individuals of diverse religious, racial, and social backgrounds. So how many of you would kind of fall on that honesty side? Would you mind sharing a little bit about why this one falls for you all?
I think if you can't be like honest at your work and share how you feel, it's like, what's the point of doing it?
Yeah, right? If people just undercut me, like I'm not going to give ideas that help advance things forward. I don't even feel comfortable helping advancing things because honesty is not valued.
If it's your work and you can't be honest about it, then it's like, reflects bad on you, so
Yeah.
that's why I choose it.
I mean, honestly, when I hear you say that, I would just be like, yeah, what's the point? Do you just want me to burn the tasks, like just do the remedial things? Good, yeah. It'd be basically maintaining the status quo, and I hate that. Yeah.
If anything, for me, it'd be like walking on eggshells.
Oh,
you know, if you
right.
can't be honest with who you're with, if anything, it's limiting on what you could do or what you think it could improve.
Right?
And then, for me, that's everything. You know, going into like a deeper meeting, I'd rather be honest and straightforward than just hide what's really going on.
Yeah. I mean, get away from like the processes and helping the job or that employer or that position be better because you can be honest and give your opinion. Think about the emotional tension of like, I shouldn't be talking right now, I shouldn't be sharing. Like that emotional tension would be super uncomfortable. So anybody else want to add something else about honesty? Yeah.
I'm a terrible liar.
Yeah, that's terrible. I can't do
Everything
it.
I think is right on my face.
Yeah.
So if that's not something that's encouraged, you're going to end up firing me.
Yeah, we're gonna have to find this relationship is not gonna work. This is not a position of best fit right here, right? I'm the same way. My emotions are on my sleeve all the time. You know exactly where I'm at in my day. Yeah, and if I can't be that way, oh man, that's gonna cause tension for me. Good, really good. How about for all of you on the other side though? What about the diversity folks? Yeah, please.
In the past, working and I grew up in very diverse city, so a lot of times diversity encouraged more honesty in the workplace. So they kind of went together. And I learned more than I have from anyone else by working with diverse individuals, so they kind of went hand in hand for me. So that's why I picked that one, because it leads to the other.
Kind of follow it, takes the lead of how honesty can relate to that. And then too, there's various perspectives. My God, look at the way it can enrich your life, right? Look at the way you can learn about how other people view things, how they live, or how they approach something. And, oh, there's education, there's enrichment.
Right.
Totally, yeah. Anybody else want to add anything to diversity? Cool. Where are we on the time? We got a 12:15? Is that right? Cool, awesome. We'll get into this one. Let me go. I always like this one. This is always a fun one, right? So thinking about, are you on this side about you want to be able to help society here? Yeah, this is always a good one. Having a job that allows you to help others contribute to the betterment of the world. Are you looking for a high income? Having income that provides me with plenty of discretionary funds, having influence with those funds. So how many of you all kind of fall on that help society side? Right? Who would like to share a little bit about that? Yeah, please.
I feel like if you make a great enough impact with helping people in your community and your society and things like that, it will eventually correlate to a higher paycheck and
Potentially.
income and stuff. So it depends on what type of impact a person would like to do.
Yeah. And again, those values, what is it that they want? You know, because there are directors of nonprofits that, like United Way, they're one of the largest nonprofits in the country. That CEO is probably easily making 6 figures. Yeah, for sure. There are other nonprofit leaders, though, that are probably only making like 40, 50 a year. And in Denver, Colorado, that's a struggle to be able to buy a home and survive as a family. So, it is trying to find that balance again. Who else is on that helping society side? What motivated that thought, that feeling?
Sort of at this point in my life, I hate to say it like this, but like in my repentance, is that the right word phase? Yeah, so I kind of am done thinking about like myself and kind of like similar to you said, I feel like it'll come the way it's supposed to,
Totally,
but
yeah.
if I don't do something to like help, then I might not be able to like, go out.
Feel good
Like,
about yourself.
yeah, like easier, yeah.
Totally, yeah. Like, what
Just
you're
in the
doing-
end, like, yeah.
It's that purpose, right? That what I'm doing is meaningful to me, however you decide to define it. I make the joke all the time to students where they're like, I just want to help people. And I make the joke of like, yeah, IT, when I called them and my computer wasn't logging in or I couldn't get access to my email, that was super helpful. Super helpful. Helping is not just doctors and teachers and counselors, ministers, right? There's all these other people that help in different ways. Good. How about for some of you on the high income side? Yeah, please share.
Me, like, I think high income is an important part of your career. I think you probably already have it.
Mhm.
Like we all want it.
Sure, yeah.
I
Right,
think-
why we're here.
Yeah, I think having high income means you can help society. You can donate to things that you like care about, other things that you care about, like
Right.
way easier than like maybe even being like a small pond, like a big organization. So
Totally.
that's just my thought
Yeah.
process on it.
Yeah, that's super impactful. Oh yeah, please share.
Oh, so I was going to say kind of along with that is I think everybody wants to say help society, but at the end of the day, the only person that's going to be there to support you is yourself working. And helping society is something you can do outside of your job,
Mhm.
but getting more income isn't always something you can do outside of your job.
True. Oh wow, that's a poignant way to say it. Absolutely. I thought this was super fascinating. I did this activity with a high school class thinking about coming to CU Denver, and I was like, oh man, yeah, dude, this new generation coming in, they're all right here. Like this is what it's about. And 99%, there's one student that stayed on the high income side, and all the others, or excuse me, stayed on the helping society side. All the others went to high income. I was like, what the hell happened? All of the sociologists out there are wrong. Like this is wrong. This isn't working out the way I thought it would. And I, dialogued with them like this, and they're like, exactly that point. If I have high income, I can create scholarships. I can donate to the needy. I can build houses for people that are homeless. And I was like, oh, wow, yeah, the level of impact you could have could be a lot different than, I am there supporting you with whatever that need might be in that direct service relating. And so that's what's really fascinating, right? It doesn't matter which one it is, it's about what is it to you. And also even thinking about like the way you had mentioned that of if any of you have ever taken like Intro to Psych, you probably learned about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's like this triangle where it talks about what do people need at the basic level, and then what is something that's more about like love and actualization, and then what's at the very top, which is called self-actualization, when a person can reach their full potential and ability to realize who they are. And at the very basic level is food, shelter, and income. And so the helping professions talk a lot about this, because if we don't have our basic needs met, we are not at a place to be able to help others. Wow. Powerful stuff, right? So it's trying to think of what's this balance for you. It doesn't matter which one you choose. It's about you and what you need out of your life or your career. Okay, more on that one, Ida. So really, the last couple of pieces that I have for you all. Yeah, please share.
Just make sure, for the first hierarchy need, wasn't it like shelters, sites, and then like water?
Yeah, it's they're
just
physiological needs.
All of them, biological, so it's for the body.
Yep. Yep, exactly. I'm not sure exactly all the different levels, but yeah, the very basic is exactly that.
Okay.
And then moving up, then it goes into things like love and validation, relationships, income.
Self-approval.
Self-approval. Yep, exactly. Nice. Good deal. Really cool stuff. Honestly, it's an awesome model. I think it's really, really helpful to really just relate to what are our needs and not forgetting that we can't perform at our highest level, regardless of if you're a business professional or you're a mental health counselor, without honoring what you need as a human being. And I think that creates engagement, Like if you aren't able to pay your mortgage, or your kids need braces and you can't do that, or they might break their arm and you don't have medical insurance, your stress will begin to influence who you are and the abilities that you can do at work and the way you show up at work, which could then result in potential, remediation or challenging conversations with HR. Right. So knowing that it's important, honor yourself, honor what you need, because that will allow you to achieve at a higher level as well and be more impactful as well. So for this next one, it's really just kind of like a bit of a test time, right? It's a true or false. It's in a fun little way, but I think it's something I do to just help break the mindset about what is this college experience and how do we make this direct correlation between what we're studying and our careers that relate to it. So thinking about a true or false, would picking a major and a career be the exact same thing?
False.
You guys have been listening, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. It'd be false, right? Because quite frankly, there are a lot of majors that can do a lot of different jobs, right? You got a sociology degree, you got a philosophy degree. Studies have shown that people who have philosophy degrees have a higher acceptance to medical school than any other degree. Isn't that fascinating? Right? Same kind of thing. Any business professional, any accountant, even to being a counselor, you don't necessarily need to have a psych degree, but just go and get some additional training. Choosing one major means all the others are not important, and the only thing that's important about my identity is that one major. Yeah, for sure, guys. Yeah, we are so way more unique and dynamic than just one thing. And that's where something like a minor, something like your general eds that you have to take, right? I remember when I was in y'all's shoes and I was like, Jesus, 120 credits? 60 of them aren't even in what I want to study? Why am I doing this? Well, I tell you what, man, environmental law, astrophysics, even my music and jazz class, I learned a lot from those. And they informed a lot of how I work with people. So knowing that those electives, knowing that those general eds, those can also inform you as an employee, regardless of where you find yourself, right? So don't neglect that. Don't think that your identity is just focused in one major area. The best way to find out about majors is to just take classes. Take a class, take a class, take a class, take a class.
I would say, yeah.
Generally can be.
Maybe the best, yeah.
Maybe not the best. Maybe the more expensive approach. Yeah, for sure. We generally say false in this one because there are other ways to be able to learn about majors and the classes that relate to them. We aren't spending like $300 to sit in the class, But I do think that once you've done at least some of that preliminary research or kind of talked about it, it does reach that certain critical point where taking the class is what would be needed to evaluate if that major could be right for you or that entire subject area could be right for you. Okay. I should just get my core classes out of the way, and that's the most important thing to start with first. Right, everyone's like, I don't know. I always get told, do my core classes first. Right? We generally say it would be false on this one too. Because sometimes if you need to switch a major, you may not have those core classes that can kind of fill in your schedule given how the flow of the day could work or your general schedule overall. So just know that, find a balance. I know for me, if I was only taking core classes and I wasn't doing any of my philosophy or psychology courses, whew, I'd be burnt out. That would have really been rough. That would have been a very, very rough semester. All right, so for this one, it's now taking a look at being able to say what degree would relate to this career. So I'm going to show you a career title, parole officer. So what would be the major or some majors that would allow you to get into this field? Yeah.
Forensics.
Forensics, for sure.
It is some of it sociology.
Sociology, yeah,
Right.
for sure. Feel free, throw them out. What else?
Criminology.
Criminal justice, absolutely. Anything else? Yeah, please.
Criminology.
Criminology, yeah. Wow, there are so many. And here's something where it could really relate to. If you get a degree in political science, right, not necessarily that much related to how people think or the way society interacts with each other, or the criminal system overall, that those other majors could really relate to, but something with a political science degree, doing a ride-along, doing a job shadow, doing an internship, would absolutely allow you to do this type of work, right? Graphic designer. And I guess I gotta only do digital design, right? It's the only one I can do. Ow. What else is out there?
Basic drawing class.
Job classes, yeah.
This is more personal, but just online courses like Adobe XD. If you need something to sharpen up your tool box and stuff, so.
I like that, right? It was
It depends on just
your goals, how you want to reach that training, reach that development, right? It's not all through formal education. When you guys kind of graduate and get out in the professional world, professional associations are super, super helpful. They give you additional trainings, they give you additional certificates. They also offer a lot of like conferences and things that allow you to develop outside. And so yeah, you could do online courses for it. You could get into a formal program like drawing or fine arts, graphic design, multimedia, computer science would relate, absolutely. Communications, right into the communication class, totally something that could relate to it. Ooh, biomedical engineer. Yeah, that's super specific. So what would that mean? What could you do with this? Or what degrees would relate to this?
Mathematics.
Mathematics, yeah, absolutely.
Science.
Biology, general science, absolutely, right? Chemistry, for sure, right? Absolutely, oops, all of them. And that's for even something like this too. Like this is a very niche type of career, but you don't have to just study bioengineering. I gotta change that. It wouldn't just be bioengineering, right? It wouldn't just be overall biology, but there can be a lot of others that would relate to it. Even something like pre-health, PT, totally, physical therapy, could absolutely relate to. Nice. All right, pharmacists, same kind of thing. So the idea here is really to help you all think that your major doesn't have to be this direct connection to your career. That there are ways outside of the classroom, all these other things that Links Connect offers, jobs, internships, volunteering, research, studying abroad, internships abroad, all of those things outside the classroom that Links Connect offers will help you to develop to get to this, get to whatever career you're looking for, or even be back into that kind of model of explore, experiment, evaluate. Could also be related to that as well, right? We're going to test out this idea. We're going to try it out, and that can help us to learn, and maybe that's where I want to end up. All right, small business owner, I think we're all kind of getting the pieces here. All right, so really just to kind of wrap some things up, it's all about you. That is what it is. It's helping you to understand what are your interests, what are your passions, what are your personality, your values, your skills, what's the impact you want to make in your community, what are these skills that you want to develop or the skills that you want to use, what are the things that give you engagement and excitement and energy and focus. That's hard to put your finger on at times. So know that we are here to help you with that. That you do not have to try to figure this stuff out on your own. You do not have to go through that cycle of experimenting, evaluating, and exploring on your own. That we have all of these resources. You can always make appointments with us. You want to use our assessments, you want to just kind of chat with us a little bit, or maybe you had that job that you really hated and you want to learn from it. Come and see us. We're happy to do all of that. Similarly, if you're kind of like me, where I don't really build a lot of like goals, I'm not sitting here saying, hey, what's my SMART goals? That's not my style. That's not who I am. But if you think that that would be helpful for you, happy to help you with it. And I know even one of my counselors, Rick, super good at this granular, detailed, specific stuff around goal setting. And so happy to help you articulate those goals. Happy to help you think about what are the ways that we can build experience. A lot of times I start to say, work backwards. If you know you want this career title, awesome. Let's find that job somewhere in the globe. Doesn't matter if it's in Denver. And let's look at what are the skills? What are the experience? What's the knowledge? What are all the things I need to get to that job? Now, let me work myself backwards from that job and say, hey, I got 3 years at CU Denver to gain those skills, to gain that knowledge, to get those experiences. And so we can help you to say, what is it every semester or every year that's going to help you to reach that goal? Take assessments. We have all these different assessments, the strong interest, the Myers-Briggs that focus on personality, strengths questions about your strengths and how you can leverage them. We do a lot of different card sorts related to skills, related to impact, related to values. So again, any of this stuff that can help you to understand those 4 circles of what they mean for you and what that theme is in the middle, come and see us. You're looking to connect with employers or connect with jobs. You're thinking, hey, I got this idea. I know where I'm going. Now let's start to build these relationships and capitalize. Come and see us. If you are the leader of a group or club and you're like, I think it'd be really cool to bring in an employer for one of our events, awesome. We would love that. We have employers that are chomping at the bit to do resume reviews, interview reviews, come to groups and clubs, all kinds of things. So whether it be for yourself, for your class, for your group or club, totally know that we can absolutely help you to make that connection as well. So really the biggest thing that I'd like to just end with is that you're not alone. and it's okay to feel confused or lost. That's life. But we're here to help you figure it out. We're helping you to know what are these things that you need out of your career to give you a sense of satisfaction and engagement. And that we hope to see you in the Career Center sometime, or come in October. Come and check us out on Links Connect. Just did a tour of the facility. It's freaking gorgeous. So, I think it rivals the Wellness Center. That thing's amazing.
Thank
Cool.
you.
You're welcome. Yeah, any questions, thoughts, some things I can help with before I take off? Awesome. Well, I appreciate y'all's attention. Working